So let's talk about what I think is numero uno. And this, in my mind, this surpasses every single thing you've heard about manifestation or the law of attraction. In fact, I'm going to be so bold as to say it is the one thing that separates those who do and get versus those who sit and don't. Are you ready for it? I bet you know. I bet you already know. It's consciousness. Now, I talk a lot about one of the main keys for mismanifestation has to do with the fact that people with a dysregulated nervous system have a really difficult time manifesting the things that they want. So let's tear that down, because we're going to get down to the nitty gritty today. I'm going to tell you the real deal, and you can take it and run with it. You can scroll past this. You can say, I think she's nuts. I'm going to unsubscribe and never watch her again. All good. But I'm telling you, you eventually will learn that this is the thing. Okay? This is the thing. So we know with the dysregulated nervous system, what's going on? Well, we are in fight or flight. What does that say about our brain? That says that our brain is in a high beta and our body is contracted, right? So we can't even think creatively, let alone meditate or medicreate. I mean, forget about that. We are in survival, baby. We have just got to get through the day. So that is why in my new book, I spend so much time and effort talking about regulating our nervous system. That's bar none. I just did a video on that. So you can watch that. I think it's called What Nerve? But here's where we're going to go deeper and tear it apart even more so I can get really crystal clear. Are you ready? What is the one theme that we have going on with nervous system regulation, manifesting our intentions, health, getting along with others, attracting wealth? What one thing does it all have in common? And if you said consciousness, you're right. So what is consciousness? You might say, well, it's your thoughts. Yeah. And it's also thinking about your thoughts. Like a real level of awareness is not just when you think thoughts, but your ability to think what you're thinking when you're thinking those thoughts. What? But I'm going to make this even more simple for you. There are two hemispheres in our brains. In our brains. We have two brains. We actually kind of do. We have a left hemisphere and a right hemisphere. Your left hemisphere is absolutely so that you can survive in the third dimension. It is linear, it is analytical, it is planning, it is remembering, it is language, it is math, it is all the things that you need to be a survivor. And it's also what you need to survive in the 3D, and it's also connected to fight or flight. And it's also, get this, connected to beta brainwaves. What is your right hemisphere for? Your right hemisphere is for creativity. It's for entering the subconscious realm, the 4D, so that you can create in the 5D. Okay? It's that connection with your superconscious mind. So important. It is alpha and theta brainwaves. It is relaxed, imaginative. It is all things good. Now, I want to be really clear before I go on. Some people, and I used to do a lot of speaking in the yoga community, so and I'm not dissing on those people, but I have met in my life many people who love the idea of, maybe they've read my books or they come to one of my intention workshops and they love the idea of creating in the 5D, but they think they want to live there. They don't want to come back. They're like, I'm going to go in the 5D. I'm working on my intuition and my crown chakra, and that's going to be my life. The problem with that is that those are people who are living from the neck up, and you can't be in the 5D, for one thing, if you're not in your full body. We are human beings in physical bodies in a physical environment for a reason. You can't just throw the baby out with the bathwater and say, I don't even need this body. I'm just going to go hanging out in the 5D. That's not what life is for, and it will not work. That's number one. Number two, for the people that say that, I'm like, well, what do you want to create in the 5D? And they're like, abundance and health. Well, why do you need it? In the 5D, you don't even need a house to live in. 5D is just free-floating consciousness. Why do you need money? And then they get it, because you really, what you want to do is you want to go into the 5D, you want to create the abundance or the health or the relationship, and you want to bring it back into your 3D experience. If you weren't in the 3D, you wouldn't give one iota about how much money you have in the bank, because you'd be living in the 5D, and we're not supposed to be living in the 5D fully. We are human beings in physical bodies. Our bodies are the vessels to our superconscious mind, or our soul, or your higher self, whatever you want to call it. And through your right brain, get this, through your right brain is how you connect with your superconscious. It's how you connect with the quantum field. It's how you connect with God. It's how you hear and give. It's where you give you say your prayers or your intentions, and it's where you receive the answers. So all of this boils down to one thing. People who have a difficult time manifesting are living in their left brain. Dysregulated nervous system or not. And I say most people have a dysregulated nervous system just because of how we live, where we live in life. 5G, all of that. It all adds to it. And I'm not going to go conspiracy theory here, but if you want to hear my podcast, go to Manifest Mondays, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about what I think the external events are causing a lot of this. But it still all comes from us. We have free will. So even if we're not responsible for, mass media and things like that, we still are responsible for what we focus on, consciousness, right? So we have all of this potential, but the people who cannot manifest or don't manifest very well, it's because they are so weighed down in the third dimension, left brain, high beta brainwaves. And people who understand, even if people who don't understand, like I know one woman she makes millions of dollars a year. And she's like, I don't know, in her 30s. And she does coaching and manifestation. And a lot of people who have gone to her are like, I get nothing out of it. She just teaches the same things that I read in Neville Goddard's books. She just teaches the same things, Law of Attraction 101. And they don't understand it. But I know it's not her. I know her. She's not a shyster. She's not a crook. She's not trying to deceive anyone. She's not a fraud. She just doesn't understand that the whole level is consciousness. So you can say, I have this program for $5,000, and if you and I've made millions, so come to my program because I've made millions and I can teach you how to. And then you come, but I don't cover this monumentally, hugely important component. And most law of attraction teachers don't. You know why? Because they don't know about it. They don't comprehend it fully. They don't get it. But I'm telling you that that's the difference. And so those people leave and they're like, I didn't get what I wanted. I could have just read a book and got this. And she's like, but it's working for me, and it's working for her, and it's working for her. It's not working for them. I don't know. It's the level of consciousness. If a person is stuck in left brain, high beta brain waves, you can roll out the red carpet and you can give them every secret society, like some of these coaches try to do, like I have the inside secrets that only the Freemasons have, whatever, right? It's all consciousness. That is the secret. That is the master key. That is the thing. And the reason that some people get it and they can create whatever they want and that others don't is because the others have not understood or learned to live in their right hemisphere more of the time. And from their right hemisphere, create the vision of what they want. And from their right hemisphere, create the image, the emotion, the elevated emotion of already having that image and staying connected enough with the quantum, with your higher self, with your soul, with your superconscious, which is what I call it, long enough and often enough to hear the whispers that tell you, no, turn here, no, go that way. That's not a good idea. You can't just close your eyes and say, okay, I'm going to get into my right brain today and envision what I want and I'm going to feel it. and then go about your merry way and just be back fully in the third dimension. You have to keep a conduit, a tunnel. Like have your soul on speed dial is what I always say. Be in this world, but not of it. And those are the people who can manifest. So a couple of practical things, because I like to give you the practical with the mystical. One of the best ways, obviously, work on your nervous system, because you cannot access the right hemisphere and the quantum field with the dysregulated nervous system. So I don't care if you get massages, use essential oil, use flower essence, go out in nature, walk barefoot, get a PEMF mat, do sound healing, whatever it takes, but get that nervous system regulated. That's going to be a huge help. The other thing that you can do is incorporate more binaural beats in your day. You use them when you go to sleep. You use them when you meditate, because it helps synchronize your brain. This is all about whole brain thinking. It's all about it. It's all about it. And I say this in my new book, that we have this spectrum of visible light that we see, but it's really enormously huge. We only see this much because that's our left brain linear 5-sense self. People who are psychic just have a wider range. We think, oh, they're so magical. No, they just are more in tune and in touch and open. And so their view expands. So listen to binaural beats, listen to frequencies, have frequency healings, or, do your own. There are so many, like I sell 2 devices right now that just, it's like, what do I sell? 𝒂𝐿e and AO scanner. And you can buy those and you can use them on yourself every day. And I have them because I'm a practitioner, but I also use them on myself every day. And you can do that, or you can get tuning forks and just make sure that you are practicing and tuning your aura all the time. Anything that will calm you down and allow you to get into your right hemisphere, both with your eyes closed when you're envisioning your manifestation, and with your eyes open when you're living in the world but not of it. Because it takes that level of consciousness. That's what we call expanded consciousness. And remember, the goal isn't to ascend. You hear a lot of talk in the spiritual arena right now about ascension. Ascension doesn't mean we're going to be lifted up like into a UFO with our feet dangling, being like, hi, bye, see you later, suckers, leaving you down here below. That's not what ascension is. Ascension is creating a world where there's a higher level of consciousness. And I have no idea. I don't care what your religion is. I don't care what your spiritual beliefs are. And I have no opinion on what happens to those who decide not to ascend. I don't know. I don't care. What I do know is that ascension is not taking you from this place and putting you there. It's about being right here, right now, on planet Earth, which is part of your purpose to be here, and having your consciousness ascend. And when your consciousness is ascended, it makes life on planet Earth much more beautiful, much more seamless, but it never is going to erase all of our problems. The reason we're on planet Earth is to come up against these problems and to forgive them and to move past them and to grow from them and to be compassionate through them. It's all this grand divine plan. And I do not believe for a second that the great creator intended us to come here to suffer. Not for a minute. So any religion that talks about suffering and you're going to go to hell and all, I just don't have any use for it. It's just, nope. Tell me beautiful things. Tell me that I'm a vessel of light and, and that God is all loving and you got my attention. But don't tell me that if I don't do this or do that, then God's going to, slap me on the hand with a ruler. It doesn't fly for me. Okay? So hopefully you feel through my enthusiasm and my energy and my excitement how relative this is, no matter who you are. Consciousness is how we create. We are consciousness. Quantum physicists are now saying the universe itself is conscious. Do you get that? We live in a conscious participatory universe that we can create physical matter that's not even solid matter through our own consciousness. And the possibility that the biowater in our body is consciousness. And that's where all of our memories and also all of our problems and traumas are stored and saved and reflected outward, right? So all of this can be very practically applied when you say, okay, I need to be more in my right brain, disconnect from my left brain every single day to create in my right brain, but also throughout the day, spend a few minutes here and there in the right brain. How do we do that? I told you listening to binaural beats. You can do that not just when you're meditating, but you can do it just sitting at your desk reading, journaling, because that's when you're journaling with a pen, that's a very right brain thing. Gardening, painting, whatever kind of hobby you have, arts and crafts, that's right brain. Thinking in right brain, just thinking about, go through the color spectrum, sound healing, all of these things can really help you. Being in nature is one of the greatest ones. So this is the secret sauce. Now, you know why nobody is, I don't know if manifestation coaches aren't talking about this because they don't get it, because obviously here's someone who just does this naturally and she's making millions, and the majority of her people are not getting that. Maybe she just doesn't know, because she already has that natural propensity to come across Neville Goddard and go, oh my gosh, feel it as if I already have it. I can do that. She doesn't have a dysregulated nervous system. So it was easy for her to get into the flow. So we have to recognize, especially if you're a coach, if I have any coaches watching me, keep that in mind for your clients. They may not be at the level that you are at. Okay? I'm not saying anyone is above anyone else, but I'm saying if you've mastered the funnel to make, $1 million a year, it's not the funnel. It's you connected to the quantum field through a regulated nervous system, alpha and theta brainwaves, and a creative consciousness, right side. Do you get that? I think it's just so crucial that we understand that. And same thing with people in sales. That's, you got all these people that try this new thing and they're like, well, that works for them, but not for me. You can't do it if you're high beta left brain dysregulated nervous system. Anything you do is just going to be outward action that's going to come with the energy of anxiety and pushing and force. Okay? This is the most important message I think that there is for anyone ever. So hopefully you understand and agree that this can be absolutely life-changing. And if you're interested in working with me or doing one of my programs or being in one of my group programs or just having a single session with me or having an energy session with me, just click on one of the links below and let's do it. Let's do it. Let's have an amazing rest of the year. Thanks for watching. See you next time.